Hello everyone, my name is Gary Kinchin from the Southampton Education School, and I am the Programme Director for the undergraduate programs within the Southampton Education School. Hope you are safe and well, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation, which is about our two degrees that we offer within the Education School, the BSc in Education and the BSc Honours in Education and Psychology. I'm going to disappear for a while and show you a few slides that will give you a little bit of introduction into the program, and hopefully it will help you as you are starting to navigate your way through a number of universities, hopefully with a view that you'll come to Southampton and study education with us. You may be wondering why I'm getting you to think at this point about where you might be going in terms of your trajectory. Possibly you're thinking about some sort of leadership role in education, maybe something within a managerial context. You might be possibly interested in working with young people, or possibly going on from the undergraduate degree to do a master's or a PhD, or working for a specific society that is interested in the learning and opportunities of our population, as in the National Autistic Society, or possibly thinking about being a teacher. These are just some of a number of trajectories for our students in terms of where they have gone after completing their degree with us. So here's the team. Myself, I was a former teacher. I have a background in physical education, and I've been working in education for about 28 years. I'm assisted by James, who oversees our joint honours programme and is able to answer all questions in relation to joint honours, and you can see his email address there. And my other colleague, Joe, supports me in the single honours programme, and we make up a leadership team of 3 in terms of oversight of the BSc Honours in Education, the BSc Honours in Education and Psychology. So this presentation will address 4 things: making decisions, some information about us, some information about the degrees, questions, and importantly, some contacts information. And that slide that I've just shown you, I will be showing you that slide at the very end, so you know exactly who to contact about the courses that we are talking about today. You may be familiar with Southampton, but you may be not. I mean, here's just a few images of Southampton and life that goes on in and around Southampton. Top left is from Oxford Street, a number of coffee shops, restaurants and places to spend time with classmates and other members of the university. We have a very active theatre called the Mayflower that has a very rich diet of shows and performances that are put on each year. We also have a Premier League football team at Southampton. I've managed to go and see 2 or 3 games this year, before the lockdown. And then there's West Quay, where you can shop if you wish. And then we have Ocean Village, which again is a waterside area where there are restaurants, places to walk, places to visit. And very close to the campus is Southampton Common, a large open green space for congregation, relaxation, walking, and so on. And then close by to the west of us, we have the New Forest. And then we have, within an hour, South London by train. So that's a little bit about the city of Southampton. And hopefully when we're able to, you'll be able to come and visit Southampton and see much of what it has to offer. So a little bit about the university. As you're aware, it's a top 100 university globally and a member of the Russell Group, a group of research-led institutions. The university has an excellent graduate employment rate, and as you can see, 96% of our graduates enter employment or further study within 6 months of leaving university. We're a top 20 UK university in terms of league tables. We have some 24,000 students, including 17,000 undergraduates, and representation of students from over 130 countries, which makes us an incredibly rich and multicultural and diverse community. We're very proud of the societies that are available, with some 300. The general feeling is that if the university doesn't offer a society, then they will do everything they can to support students who wish to create one. So there's an invitation for you. And importantly is the availability of learning, which you would expect from a modern university. And that also includes the opportunity to study for a minor alongside your degree. So there's considerable flexibility within study, and I'll get to some of that a little bit later in the presentation. So what makes our program special? Well, I'm proud of the staff that I work with. We have incredibly diverse staff of background and experience and educational undertakings, both in terms of teaching and also in terms of research and development. Our program is special because of its design from a progressive and developmental point of view. And as you will see when I get to the structures of the 2 degrees, the flexibility that is available in terms of you being able to study both within education and also outside of education in terms of other parts of the university. As an education school, you would expect the quality of teaching and learning to be extremely high, and indeed it is within the education school. And we are consistently praised for the range of opportunities and support through our programs. And lastly, what makes our program special are our students, both our current students and former students that have gone on to do some wonderful things, which I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation in terms of their destinations, be that full-time work, be that part-time work, or going on to other study academically, either with us or possibly at another university. Here are our staff, just some of them that you will hopefully meet if you come to join us. They're a super bunch. Again, we have staff that work principally within the education degrees, but many of the staff here contribute to undergraduate degrees, they contribute to our teacher training programs, they contribute to masters and also contribute to PhDs, as I do myself as the leader of the undergraduate program. So they have a wonderful wide array of experience and knowledge, and they look forward to hopefully meeting you at some point over the next year if we have a chance to return to the institution and actually see each other face to face. But you can see from the montage here the many individuals that hopefully you will come into contact with in the future. I put up a few things here from the league tables, which are an important indicator and something that you may be looking at very closely. You can see that education was ranked in the top 10 for the last 5 years. The most recent ref, the university was 7th for research impact in terms of education. Our satisfaction rates for the National Student Survey are strong, and we are particularly praised at explaining things and making concepts understandable. And we are silver ranked on the teacher framework in terms of the quality of teaching. I'm going to move on to some of our real distinctive characteristics. As I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, it is important that you may have some idea of where you are going in terms of your career. It's not uncommon that some students aren't sure, but they're interested in education, and quite often that pathway emerges as they go through the program. But clearly, the wish to obtain employment at the end of the degree is something that you may be very, very curious about. And so therefore, employability is very much embedded into our program. There's actually a particular module in year 2 that actually looks at employability, and we work really closely with our careers team. And the degrees here also have the possibility of a year of employment. so that you can step away from study for a year, go into an employment sector, and then return and complete your degree. Another distinctive characteristic of the degree is what we call critical observation modules, and these are available in years 1, 2, and 3. And they have both input at the university in concert with experiential learning, where you spend some time in an educational setting, be that early years right the way through to post-16. And that's something which many of our students find incredibly valuable, and allowing them to look at the relationship between theory and practice. And all of our modules address very much generic skills around employability and those important intellectual skills that are very much part of an education degree: reflection, analysis, and so on. In terms of year of employment, here's Imogen. Imogen is about to return to us in September, having spent a year in a clinical psychology context. In an email to me, Imogen said it was everything I ever wanted in terms of my year in employment. And so this is available to students, and this is undertaken through the help of our careers and employability services. And if that's something you want to find out more about, I would encourage you to make contact with those services here at the university. So here's an example of a student very recently who chose to actually spend a year between the second and third year in an industrial setting. In terms of destinations, you can see that as a university, the vast majority of students following degree classification and exit from the university are working full and part-time, and again in terms of full-time study. So that is an excellent employment rate for the Southampton University community. And again, I hope that's something that is important to you as you're making those decisions about where you wish to study. Okay, some more information about the degree itself. Some universities will offer a BA in education, but the University of Southampton sees itself as a BSc. And the principal reasoning behind that is that we feel the degree does have a strong focus upon scientific, numeric, and analytical aspects, and that the degree itself has a heavy emphasis upon understanding research and research methodology, and how to undertake research, which will be important for students when they actually arrive at the dissertation stage, which is done in year 3. And the courses around research will address both quantitative and qualitative aspects. So we do pride ourselves in being a BSc. So the degrees themselves, we are of the view as a staff that understanding is a key aspect of study here at Southampton. And in the context of education, that's understanding the processes of learning, understanding where learning takes place in terms of its contexts, and also understanding the particular perspectives and methodologies that are used in terms of understanding educational issues and the complex interactions that happen. So, in terms of studying here at the university, we will attempt to help you make sense of educational issues by studying them systematically, giving you opportunity to look at and critique current educational policy, and then looking at the latest principles and new knowledge around educational issues and applying those across your modules. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually take you through the 2 degrees themselves. The first 3 slides will look specifically at the BSc Honours in Education, and the next 3 will look at the BSc Honours Education and Psychology. And then I will talk about how you will study, how will you be assessed, and those important entry requirements. So for the BSc Honours Education Year 1, these are the modules that are currently being taught. You will see that there is a module called 1060, Researching Learning. It's a double module, so that's taught across the whole year. And then the year is broken up into 2 semesters. and the modules are there. So semester 1 looks at contemporary issues, teachers and teaching, and 1059 Digital Society, which recently won an education award here at the university for its digital platform that it used. And then you can see in semester 2 that there are modules that you must take that are compulsory, but also you can look at some options. And there are those critical observation modules there, and also something which we call the University Free Elective. And so therefore that gives you the choice, if you wish, to take another module from across the university. So many of our students will look maybe taking something in languages, something in management. So the chance for you to explore other aspects of learning through this free elective opportunity. Year 2, you can see that there is the double module in research methods in education, again highlighting the importance of research that I mentioned earlier on. And here you can see the emergence of some choice in terms of on the left for semester 1 you choose 3, but at least 2 must be education, and there you can see the free elective opportunity is there, and the same in semester 2. In year 3 also there is the dissertation, which again is a double module, and you will have a dedicated supervisor that will support you in your project. And once again, you can see that there are a range of modules that are available, of which there is some choice. And again, you can continue to look at those modules in other parts of the university that we loosely call the free electives. So the degree itself has modules that are required, but also there is a definite degree of choice, and particularly as you move through the degree itself. Our BSc Education Psychology unit have particular modules that you must take to accrue BPS Society status, British Psychological Society, BPS Society status, as you would do for a BSc in Psychology course. And as you can see on the slide here, it does allow you to look at possibly career paths within education and psychology. Important to point out that some of our students are interested in educational psychology or becoming an educational psychologist, but that will involve further study. And my colleague James Hall on the first and last slide is someone that you might wish to contact if you have ideas or questions around possibly moving in that direction. So, because of the BPS requirements, you will see that there are modules that must be taken for you to accrue the credits to secure that BPS, both in terms of semester 1 and semester 2. And there will be some modules here that you might recognize from the single honours program that will be taken alongside our single honours students. The psychology modules you will be taking alongside the psychology students from the School of Psychology. In year 2, you can see that there is Edu 2045, which is specifically a double module around research methods in education and psychology. And then again, you can see there are particular modules that you must take, and also opportunities for some flexibility in terms of your curriculum and electives that might be available. And you can see that there are certain choices that you must make, and whether those choices are in education or in psychology. And finally, in year 3, where you have you can either do the dissertation in terms of a single honours dissertation, or you can do the psychology dissertation, which has 2 elements to it: the literature review and then the research paper. And once again, you will see that there are some psych modules here that again you must take to ensure that you have those credits to allow you to secure BPS. So those are our 2 degrees. I'm going to talk a little bit more now about how will you study. Well, in the current context, we're doing an awful lot of work remotely right now, but we hope that by the time that you join us, that things may have moved forward in terms of lockdown, and that actually there will be more face-to-face contact for your teaching, which will allow us to offer you lectures and seminars and workshops. And in a typical program, that it will be around 12 hours a week across a 12 teaching week period. And you will be taking the equivalent of 4 modules per semester. And feel free to back and have a look at the course outlines again in the previous slides, and you can see how those modules come together. But there will also be other opportunities for you in terms of undertaking observations, reading, completing revision, and peer support with your colleagues. And we would normally expect for a module for a student to be spending around 125 hours in terms of independent work, reading, preparing for seminars, preparing for assignments, and reading and reading and reading. So how will you be assessed? We offer a range of assessment modes at the university, so we're not just all about exams. There will be some exams, but we also have modules assessed using essays, using reports, presentations and posters, which are also done with groups, so giving you experience of doing group projects. And also you can see there that there are open book exams, tests, digital artifacts. So we try and ensure that we present a range of ways in which students can demonstrate their achievement. There are entry requirements for the Education Single Honours degree and the Education and Psychology degree. Dr. James Hall is the admissions officer for the School of Education undergraduate programme, and I would encourage you to contact him if you've got questions about entry requirements. So, in terms of the degrees themselves, okay, we see the option module as a particular strength of this degree, allowing you to build some flexibility in and possibly pursuing a sequence of modules in another school. We had a student this year that actually is seeking to secure a minor in anthropology, but you can take 4 or 5 free electives across those 3 years, and you might dip into archaeology, you might dip into languages. So those choices can very much fit with particular interests that you might be developing. You will have a dedicated supervisor for your dissertation who will support you through, and for years 1 and 2 in particular, you will have a personal academic tutor that will be there to support you from both an academic point of view and also from a pastoral point of view. Important to point out that the option choice modules could be capped, and so the university tends to offer a first come first served basis, but there is a window of opportunity each year when those option modules become available, and then students can make those choices. In terms of learning opportunities, you will see that we have strong links with our employability and careers department, and our careers officers will come and speak to students each year, not only in terms of talking about possible destinations, but importantly the transition from year 1 to year 2 and to year 3. As I mentioned earlier on, the university has a thriving clubs and societies, and some 12,000 members of our university community are involved in those societies. We have some very active student ambassadors who assist on open days and visit days and are important links between the university and prospective applicants, because sometimes it's really nice to sit and have a talk with a student, and I hope that you will take up that opportunity during the virtual day to link in with our current students and former students and ask them questions about their experience too. There are some internships available, and you can see that we've had a recent education student gain an internship at MenCap. I mentioned earlier on about possible trajectories from the program here, and teaching is one of those. So if you are thinking possibly about teaching afterwards, we offer the PGCE in primary, secondary and further education. Some of our students go on to do master's programs, either full or part-time, and we have a number of pathways within our postgraduate taught programs, our master's programs. And more recently, we've had some students go on from their undergraduate degree into a funded PhD. So again, those are sort of pathways that some of our students might follow, continuing to be interested in research and trying to actually advance their own academic abilities. We have an agreement with the University of North Finland, so there is the possibility of spending a single semester exchange in year 2. Hopefully by the time that you might start with us, those sorts of opportunities have returned. But it's important to point out at this stage is that that is available for students who might wish to spend a semester overseas. And as I'm finishing the presentation, I think this clip captures it all for me in terms of our students. They're happy students, they're active students, they're engaging students. They give us really helpful constructive feedback, and that's important as we monitor and continue to tailor the degree towards their needs and interests. And these are 3 of our quite recent graduates who were absolutely wonderful to work with. So, if you like the sounds of these programs and it offers you the structure and flexibility that you are looking for, then Southampton could be an option for you. If you like the sound of the staff and who they seem to be and the feel that you have from their abilities and from their research interests and their teaching abilities, this might further strengthen your interest in Southampton. If from a virtual point of view, and let's hope in time from an actual coming to campus point of view, you've got a feeling about the place, because people and place are important when we're thinking about a university decision. If you see that there's more to just getting your degree at the university, that you can enrich your opportunities, you can join clubs and societies, you can become an ambassador, you become a representative for the course, you can look at other study opportunities either here or possibly thinking about taking that gap year. And if you think that we're standing out and that it might be somewhere that you really would like to come and join us, then we hope that you will place us first on your list. So back to those important contact details. So I'm Gary, James, who supports me on the joint honours, and my other teammate Joe, who works with me on the single honours. You can see that our email addresses are there. We are, in the current climate, working home remotely, so the chances are we're on our email an awful lot. So please take every opportunity to contact us if you've got questions. And I hope that this presentation has been helpful. I'm back again in this particular climate. So there we are. That's the degree, single honours and joint honours that are here. And I wish you well. Stay safe, both you, your families and your loved ones, and please make contact with us if you've got questions. And I hope that this presentation has been useful. The School of Education has an active website, and again you can find that through your browser if you want to again drill into anything more about the school and about the university in particular. So on that note, I will say thank you and goodbye.